Always work hard, but always use your mind. Always work hard, but always use your mind. Follow me to the northeast of Africa to a land named Egypt. Among the golden pyramids and in the midst of the golden sea of sand was a farm. Two men lived on each side of the farm. On one side, a man named Simki. Now Simki worked hard, but Simki was very poor because he always forgot to use his mind and people always took advantage of him. On the other side of the farm was a man named Abisi. Now Abisi was very rich because he always used his mind and believed that he could pay people to do his work, but Abisi was also a trickster. The time came where Simki and his wife became so poor, his wife said to him, "Go to Abasi and ask him to use the farm to harvest the crop. We will till the land, we will harvest the crop, and we will share the profits 50-50. Simki thought that was a great idea, so he went to Abasi's house and gave him the proposal. Abasi, being a man that loved to work, to get paid and not work, thought it was a great idea. But he said, under two conditions. I will give you the seeds, and whatever grows under the ground is mine, and whatever grows on top of the ground is yours. So Simki takes the seeds and he goes to the farm, him and his wife, and he begins to till the ground, and his wife is behind him planting the seeds. And because the farm sat beside the Nile River, the nourishing, rich, healing waters of the Nile caused the harvest to grow much faster than expected. And throughout the entire growing season, every day, Simki and his wife planted and tilled the farm. But Abasi, never wanting to work, never showed up one day to check on those crops. So the harvest came through the ground, and up through the ground came wide, long green leaves. And on harvest day, Abasi smiled because he knew that those plants were turnips. Now Simki and his wife were sad because they knew that based on the agreement, the tops of the ground would only give them the turnip greens. So Abasi's man began to dig up the turnips, and Simki and his wife were behind chopping the greens. And Abasi's men went to the market and sold all of the turnips and brought to Abasi a profit of 1 bag of gold coins. While Simki went to the market and sold his grains, he returned to his wife with 1 gold coin because the turnip greens were only good to sell for food for the cows. The seasons changed and it was time for planting season once again. And this time, Abasi was received by Simki, and Simki said, "We will do the same agreement." But Abasi said, "This time, let's reverse it. Whatever grows on the top of the ground, I'll take, and whatever grows below the ground is yours." Now Simki didn't use his head, and he quickly agreed. So he grabbed the seeds and he went to the farm and began to till, and his wife took the seeds behind and they began to plant. And the Nile River nourished the harvest, and once again Abasi never showed up for the crop. And on harvest day, on the field, poking through the earth were golden stalks of wheat that reached so high through the heavens as if to kiss the sun. And as the wheat grains waved in the wind, Abasi smiled, knowing that all of the stalks of the wheat would be his. But Simki and his wife were upset because they knew all they could get were the roots and the dry stalks of the wheat, for they agreed to take underground. So as the Abasi's men hit the sides and they picked up the harvest of the wheat and they took it to the market and they sold it and came away with 10 bags of golden coins and presented them before Abasi. While Simki went to the market, he returned home with nothing because no one wanted to feed their cattle roots and dry stalks. Simki's wife was so upset and Simki didn't know what to do. So he said, I'm going to go back and do it one more time. So the time to grow came again, and Abasi had another trick up his sleeve. He said, you know, Simki, in all fairness, I bring home a profit of 10 golden coins, 10 bags of gold coins last year, and you brought back nothing. So in fairness, I will give you reverse. Again, you can have what grows on the top. I will take what grows on the bottom. So he handed him turnip seeds. But he said to him, these are wheat seeds. So Simki didn't use his head. He thought about how much wheat that produced the year before. So he took the bag and he went on to the farm and began to till, knowing that he was planting wheat seeds. But his wife opened that bag and noticed that they were turnip seeds. She reached into her pocket. And while Simki was digging the ground, she quietly behind him placed her own seeds in the ground. The Nile River nourished the harvest, and the harvest came so swiftly that it became a bumper crop where they grew more ever than expected, and up over the ocean and up into a sea of open, wide green leaves. Abasi shows up expecting to see the wheat, and his servants cry out, Master! This is not wheat. The leaves on this field are that of potatoes. Abasi grew angry, and Simki and his wife smiled, knowing that according to the agreement, you said anything that grows below the ground was ours. You take the potato. We take the potatoes. You take the greens. So they took the greens to the market, Abasi's men, and they sold nothing once again. But Simki went to the market, and the potatoes were so healthy and so full, he came back with 20 bags of golden coins. And again, the season came again to time to plant. Abasi recalled how angry he was and how he got tricked, and he devised a plan so he can get even more profits for this year. He went down himself to Simki's house. But before he could open his mouth, Simki said, we will no longer do the harvest agreement with you. And Abasi was like, but surely you want the profit of the potatoes again. I have potato seeds. And Simki's wife said, we no longer need your help. We used our profits because on the other side of the Great Pyramid, Simki and his wife had bought their own farm, 3 times the size of Abasi's. Abasi walked away in anger because he knew had he worked hard and checked on those crops, he would have known that they were growing potatoes the whole time. So now when you go to Simki's farm, you see every harvest a wealth of potatoes, turnips, and wheat. My brothers and sisters, always work hard, but always use your mind. I say.